Want to versus have to. Want to versus have to. Curtis and I were talking a few weeks ago, actually, a couple months ago now at this point. It was closer to like the beginning of the year. So, what, like 5 months ago now? Holy shit, 5 months ago? Okay, so it was closer to the beginning of the year, the first part of January. And we were talking about our relationship, and we've been married now for just over 22 years. And Curtis said to me, he said, well, you always come from this aspect. We were kind of arguing about life and just how things are, and not really arguing, we're more debating, like having this discussion. And he was like, well, you just think we have to, like every time we've had like a long go at this, right? And we've had a lot of challenges and struggles through the years. Well, come in, Dorothy. And so he said, well, you just think that because we got married and your belief in marriage is that we have to stay together forever. We just have to make it work. We have to, no matter what, And I was like, no, I don't actually. No. I was like, I used to think that. I used to think that that's what it was all about, no matter what, because we got married and we decided to get married. And so it was just like, this was forever, forever, forever. Amen. Right. And as time has gone, and especially in that moment, I totally had the feeling and realization of, no, I don't have to, because I've really worked on and adapted the mentality over the last 7 or 8 years, especially, that I don't have to do anything, like have, and I emphasize have to all the time, because you don't have to do shit. You get to, or you can, or you choose to, but you don't really have to do very much. And so when it comes to marriage, it's a belief system to me. It's something you believe in or you don't. It's something that you want to do or you don't, but you don't have to do it. Nobody's holding a gun to your head. And nowadays, and for a very long time, society will very much support you getting a divorce. And the systematic society way of things will help you and assist you in making sure each of you is held accountable and getting you all involved in that crazy show, right? Like court and child support and alimony and visitation. I went through that with my first son. I had got married young and then went through all that. And it was very clear to me, I never wanted to experience a lot of that shit ever fucking again. It was horrible. It was horrible. There's a million things that I've experienced. Not really, but a ton, a bunch. A shit I've experienced that has opened my eyes to the systematic ways of doing things and how they operate, and it's not in your favor. It's not for you. It's not in support of you. And so when I was young and I went through getting married really young and then getting a divorce and having my son and having to deal with irresponsibility of his father and holding him accountable, it's like, what can I do? This dude is not being responsible. I felt like, oh, well, the court system. And then it was like, I found out what a joke that was really fucking fast. And so as I went on and got married, and Curtis and I was like, no way, I don't want to go through that shit again. And I was constantly reminded throughout time in our marriage, when we'd have hard times or struggles, I'd be like, you don't want to go through that shit, right? You don't want your kids going through that shit, right? You don't. And it was like, oh, yeah, right. So I have all these reminders of that this is totally a choice. It's just sometimes I forget that choosing to love people is also a choice. Like, you can't kind of really decide what your heart wants and what your heart does and what your heart feels, but you can choose what you do with that. And so I had that realization talking to Curtis at the beginning of the year, like, you're totally right. I do not believe we have to be together. We have to stay together. We have to. We don't. I want to. That's what it is for me. I want to. I used to tell Curtis when we were young, I'd be like, I don't need you. I want you. And to me, that's so much more valuable than need. I want you. I do not need you. I need myself. I can do for myself. I want you. I want to incorporate you in my life. I want to be part of your experience. I want you. I do not need you. If anything, I feel like I need him more now because I love him more and I care for him more and I see him more. So I'm like, oh, I need this dude in my life. I need him. And I don't really need him in my life. I really want him in my life. And so that's come so clear to me. The more challenge we've gone through the last 2 years, pioneering our way through this off grid life and this whole new way, and this way of living without debt, and this way of living without using credit all the time for everything, and this way of living organically as we can, and clean as we can, and not full of toxins and poisons. And I mean, it's really been challenging because I've become so aware of so much in the last 7 or 8 years that it's been a challenge to incorporate my beliefs and my awareness into our life that wasn't always there. And so we've been super challenged, but recognizing those challenges and those hurdles and those struggles, and then being like, and I still choose to want to. It shows you don't have to do shit. You could just say, fuck this. I'm leaving. I'm going back to, on grid. I'm going back to being whatever. And you don't have to. You get to choose. And so you can choose to go that way because it looks easier or less complicated or simpler, or somebody's less fucked up. Or you can choose to go your route. So it's all choice. And I 100% recognize this. I 100% recognize that even in my love for Curtis, all these years, and all the struggles and all the pain and all the times I felt like I was a married single mother parenting my children, I recognize it's all choice. It's all my choice. I don't have to do shit. And especially not now. All my children are practically grown. My youngest child is going to be 15. And so my children are getting really close to being very independent, all of them. And for the first time in my life, being as I became a mother, getting pregnant at 15, I'm 43 years old. So I could just say, fuck it, and walk away and be like, nah, man, I'm doing me, B. But that's not what I want. I want these people. I want these relationships. I want Curtis. Even if I feel like at times like, geez, man, what the fuck? I know he's felt that at times. I mean, a week or two ago, I have times where I feel so sad. I feel so much of what's going on in the world. I feel so much of what's going on for my parents, for Curtis's parents, for our siblings, for people I've never met. Sometimes I feel this like, and I just gotta bawl my eyes out and cry and just, whoo. And Curtis was there for me. He is there for me. And I have no explanation sometimes. I'll just be like, I just feel so sad sometimes. And usually I don't. Usually I'm very happy, or I'm very content, or I'm very chill, or I really am. I'm so like, I'm very peaceful in my feel. But there are times where I'm so sad feeling. I feel so sad for the world at times. And yeah, he's there for that crazy. So I know that I choose to, and so do you. You get to choose. You get to be. You don't have to. You don't have to do shit. You don't have to stay married. You don't have to go to that school. You don't have to go to that doctor's appointment. You don't have to keep going to church. You don't have to eat that food. You don't have to keep doing all the shit you've done. I mean, you don't have to keep limiting anything in your life. You don't have to. You get to. And if you change that way of thinking of, I don't have to, I get to, it might change everything for you. It might change your marriage. It might change your relationship with a kid. It might change your education. It might change your health. It might change your money. It might change everything. If you come from a perspective of you don't have to, you get to. And for me, I've practiced this belief and this awareness for years. But owning that and seeing it so fucking clearly in my marriage has freed me. It's freed me from so much. Because I can look at everything that way now and be like, you don't have to get pissed. You get to. And then I'm like, I don't like getting pissed. I'm not very pretty as a human when I get pissed. So, I don't have to. I get to, but I don't have to. And so I can just be like, whatever, do whatever thing it is. So if it's something Curtis is doing, which often Curtis does stuff that I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Or it is quite annoying, or he takes forever on something, in my opinion, because I'm a busy, I walk at a certain pace. He only walks that fast when he's crossing the parking lot, and that's about it. And so it's like, and it's, yeah, there's a lot there. So yeah, I've had to work on my expectations and my beliefs and my this and my desires and my own standards. And whether or not I want to get pissed or irritated or upset or anxious or stressed or whatever when it comes to anything. So come from a perspective of you get to, you don't have to, and it might change your world. Peace, love. See ya.